Hey everyone, how's it going today? Welcome back to a third stimulus check and third stimulus package unemployment benefits extension update. So we do have brand new updates about the third stimulus package, including certain changes that might be potentially coming, such as about the income threshold, certain requirements, who actually qualifies. There are certain details about a potential $3,000 extra stimulus that you guys might have actually heard about that's supposed to be sent out to help support families. We talked briefly a little bit about this about 2 videos ago. It's a little bit of an extension update. Feel free to check out that video if you haven't done so. Basically, 2 videos ago, we made a video talking a little bit about like a potential child support plan that's going to give certain families an extra $3,000 under Mitt Romney. I believe the name of that video is physically called $3,000 extra for some. We do have brand new updates now about a new plan that's supposed to give certain families $3,600, but this one's now under the Biden plan, so it'll make a lot more sense, so definitely watch you for that. So we do have updates about that. So we're just going to get started right away, but before we begin, make sure you smash the like button in light of supporting this channel and all of the great news that has recently come out. Consider subscribing, hitting the bell notification button for future updates on stimulus, unemployment, and other finance topics, and feel free to comment any questions, thoughts about honestly just anything at all. Hopefully you guys had a relatively wonderful okay Super Bowl weekend, and also a snow day round 2 weekend, because I know if you're in the Northeast, which I'm biased because I'm in New York, we did also get another round 2 of the snow day. It was a little bit smaller compared to usual, but it definitely started to come down. I don't know. Feel free to maybe comment what it's like in your state over the weekend in terms of the snow condition, because I know I've heard supposedly if you're in Chicago or somewhere in the Midwest, supposedly they hit a temperature something in like the negatives or something, like, I don't know. You guys can probably, if you guys are from somewhere in the Midwest or anything there, feel free to comment, confirm, or anything like that. I just heard it was freezing over this weekend, but hopefully you guys relatively were able to stay safe and well and enjoyed the Super Bowl, or at least were able to relatively enjoy the weekend in some way. So with that being said, let's get started. So when it comes to the world of stimulus, in terms of where we currently stand with negotiations, the great news is, as you guys probably know, is that last week they've officially passed the budget bill, so they already have the money to physically do it. So what that means is that we at least have an idea what the price tag is going to be, because otherwise before that budget it could have been anything from 600 billion, which is what actually the Republicans wanted, all the way up to, who knows, 2-something trillion. The great news is that now that we do have the budget bill, it means that we do have a relative gauge about how much money they physically have to work with. So if they don't use that money, then it kind of is like, again, like passing a bill that you get money for a certain something, but you don't actually use that money. It kind of, doesn't really fully maximize the purpose. Feel free to check out those videos if you guys are interested on that side about the budget. But the great news is that now that we do have the budget bill, the big thing that they're working on now is trying to finalize the details of the bill, because there's a lot of different parts of the bill, as you guys probably know, like the stimulus checks, unemployment, something for small businesses, childcare, all sorts of the pandemic testing, and then support for different industries if you work in certain industries or careers, depending on the industry that you particularly work in. So the big thing is that they're currently working to really draft out the bill. There's a lot of different parts, and they're trying to modify it to think about what they want to include, what they don't want to include based off the budget that they have. A couple of them would be like the child tax support, which is the child care support, which is what we're going to be talking about in a little bit. There is also something about a potential tax cut to remove taxes if you are on unemployment. There's also something that's actually they're debating on about small businesses, actually, about how they're going to fund the eidl, ppp, sba side of things. So that's if you happen to be self-employed of some kind. This also does apply to you if you happen to have some kind of side hustle, or it potentially will. If you have some kind of side hustle, even if it's something like selling stuff on eBay, or just some kind of a lemonade stand, Uber driving, those are like probably the classic examples of really anything in that world. But the big thing is that also this week, another big event is going to be actually Trump's impeachment. As you guys probably know, they are going to be taking not a full step back, but they're going to be dividing their time a little bit now, trying to focus between Trump's impeachment and then on the actual stimulus package. I personally think that they should just be focusing on the stimulus package, but I guess for them, the good news though is I think that because they knew that they were going to move on to focus on Trump's impeachment, I do think that maybe it gave them a little bit of more urgency to try to get it passed. That's why they were at least able to get the budget bill. But feel free to, I don't know, share your comments if you guys have anything, whether or not you think they should focus on Trump's impeachment or just move on from what had happened and then just focus on the stimulus, because I mean, he's not actually even in the White House at this point. Now, as mentioned, one new thing that is potentially happening, aside from the income requirements, which we're going to talk about like just right after this, but is going to be the child tax credit, or rather just the child support care, depending on how you call it. But basically the idea is that I think it was really inspired by Mitt Romney's plan. If you guys remember, about 2 videos ago, we talked a little bit about how Mitt Romney was planning to do kind of like a child support thing where they were going to give families about $3,000. I think that this was largely inspired by that. Well, the great news is that now it is looking very likely that they are going to do this, because Biden, on the Democrat side, are now trying to propose their own bill that relates to child support. And I think they're currently planning to do, I believe the amount is supposedly it's going to be $3,000 for children between 6 to 17, and then $3,600 for children under 6. So it would be a lot of money if you happen to be a family, and this is per child too. So if you happen to say, for example, I have 2 kids, you could be talking about a potential $7,000 tax refund. So basically, like treated almost like basically getting like a $7,000 extra stimulus for families if you happen to have 2 children there. Again, keep in mind is that this is still kind of an add-on, but they are releasing the actual proposal, which means that they officially have it documented that they are doing something for childcare, and they are supporting on both the Republicans, so Mitt Romney's side, and the Democrat side. So it is looking very likely. It's just not a total guarantee yet, so just really be on alert about that, but it is looking likely, which is the really great news if you happen to be a family, especially if you happen to have kids of some kind. Now, this is the part that probably will apply to a lot more of you, but it's about the actual stimulus check. So the current story right now is that right now on the table, I think it's relatively set that they are probably going to be doing the $1,400. So with the 600 would become 2,000, but in this round, technically 1,400, depending on how you kind of define the amount. But the general idea is that they are, I'm pretty sure the amount is pretty much relatively going to be $1,400. The big thing that they are working on is actually going to be the requirements. So at this current time, I believe the general idea is that the requirement they have set is $75,000. So if you happen to have make $75,000 or under, you should thankfully qualify for the entire $1,400 stimulus check. However, there are a lot of thoughts right now about a group of people inside of Congress that are debating on trying to lower it to the $50,000 threshold. So instead, now it's going to potentially get capped at $50,000, and it's going to slowly get tapered until basically about $60,000. So basically, if you're making $50,000 or under, you would get the entire stimulus check. If you're making between $50,000 to $60,000, you would get a partial stimulus check, and then it would basically end at $60,000. Now, this part, once again, is still kind of tentative. They don't know if they're going to be going through with this. I believe the general ideas is that I believe many of the Republicans and Biden, so this is a little bit of interesting. I think most of the Republicans are trying to lower the requirement to make it capped at $50,000. I think Biden is a little bit more on the flexible side, but he is also admittedly trying to push to do it at $50,000. But I think the reason why he wants to do it isn't because he really wants to make it $50,000, but it's more because I think it's that he's trying to create a little bit of unity, and I think that it's because he wants to find, it's kind of like with his presidential speech, if you remember, and the Republicans did also push him on it, about how since Biden, talked all about trying to unite the country regardless of your political party, which I think is a great thing. I think that the Republicans are kind of using this as a say to kind of convince Biden to kind of drop down. It's really just for compromise. He doesn't necessarily have to do it, but they kind of just want him to do it, and I think Biden is just trying to create some kind of compromise to maybe make them a little bit happier even after most of the events of last year. So I think he's been debating on trying to make it $50,000. Now, on another note though, is there are so many people that are still trying to fight to keep it at the $75,000. I know that probably the most prominent example is probably Bernie Sanders. but actually even many House Democrats. Many people in the House Democrats, with probably Bernie Sanders being the most famous of all the politicians. Bernie is trying to push for the income cap to be at $75,000 regardless of the actual amount of the stimulus check, whether or not it ends up being $1,400 or the actual complete $2,000. Now, I believe the idea is that from here is that they are contemplating, they may even try to release parts of the bill in sections. And I do think one of the things that they are planning to release sometime this week, maybe even in the coming days, or even today actually, literally just anything in the near future, is they're planning to release the text for the child care support program that's supposed to the $3,600 plan for certain families. I believe that they're trying to release that first, and then whether or not they decide to finally put it inside of the finalized package, they're probably going to release details about the package later. But when they actually work out the details with every little individual part in all of the different parts of the stimulus package. So we're definitely going to know a lot more about that, but I figured this is probably a great kind of heads up video to kind of know about what's to potentially come in the coming days and maybe what to potentially expect of what we basically know at this time. So with that being said, hopefully you guys enjoyed that update. Thank you guys so much for watching. Stay safe as always. Feel free to comment any questions, thoughts about really anything at all, what you guys think about the final bill, what you guys think should or should not be included in, what do you think their focus should be. Remember to smash the like button if you guys hopefully enjoyed that. Consider subscribing and hitting the bell notification for future videos on stimulus, unemployment, finance topics. Feel free to check out other past videos on other kinds of programs within the stimulus and the unemployment program. And with that being said, thank you guys so much for watching. Stay safe, stay well, and hope to see you guys next time. Thank you guys so much again.